Many of you may have noticed, and we're talking tomorrow, for example, about the real estate market, which is really just not a lot of stock on. And it seems to me that a country gets almost transfixed by elections and nothing happens. And I'm particularly interested in this in regards to business and what has happened or happens in a business community in the run-up to an election. So to answer that question for us and tell us what is going on, we are joined from Business New Zealand by Catherine Beard. Catherine, lovely to see you again. Welcome to the platform.
Thank you. Good morning.
Look, does business get transfixed and scared by elections as well? I mean, all the candidates are scared. They're all facing terrible violent threats. What happens to business during a campaign?
Yeah, look, there is a bit of a pause because business obviously likes certainty and they like to know what they're dealing with. And in the lead up to an election, of course, all the policy work stops. And that happens actually quite like about 3/4 into the year. So everything sort of goes on hold, really. And so business doesn't know what they're going to be dealing with. So those investment
They don't make decisions either, I imagine, because you don't know the environment you're going to be making decisions in.
No, that's right. And depending on which way the government goes, if they've got plans to, I don't know, do something that requires resource consent or something like that, and there's the potential that that could be fast-tracked in the future under a future government, then obviously you would hold back and wait till you had some certainty.
All right. Catherine, does the outcome, and I guess we can say there are two broad outcomes that are possible in an election, though one's certainly more possible than another, the way things are going, a centre-left government or a centre-right government made up of a coalition of various constituent parties. Does business in general have a view, and is there any data or research that says, does business have a view about which it would rather happen, the business community?
Look, I think it'll be no surprise that business is a bit disenchanted with the current government. Mm-hmm. And at Business New Zealand, we judge governments on policy rather than politics.
Yep.
But I have sort of been saying that if you put a spreadsheet together and listed all the policies that business is in favour of, every political party will deliver the odd policy that business likes, but if you actually put it into a spreadsheet, you'd probably find that a centre-right government is going to tick more of those boxes. So the sorts of things that business, I think, gets frustrated with is when you have changes of government and you get policies sort of switched on and switched off that business care about. So one good example is immigration. One government comes along and closes it down, the next opens it up. Infrastructure is another example. It's a long-lived asset. These are things that you should be planning to do consistently over 20, 30, 40 years. You get a change of government, you can get short-term thinking. So really, business is looking at a suite of things that make doing business easier and more successful, and then looking at the political parties and who's delivering those policies.
All right, which is a roundabout way of saying business in general would rather see a centre-right victory. Can we also expect, no matter what the outcome of this election, Catherine, and we've also got to recognise there's going to be this time which National tells us would be short if they are in the driver's seat. We're going to have this period of coalition negotiation, which is often actually the most uncertain time for a country because everyone expects the MPs to be back at work the day after the election, and they're not. It takes a little bit of doing to get a government together. But if we've had this period of uncertainty or indecision during the campaign and the lead up to election day, a couple of weeks of uncertainty afterwards, do we get a burst of business activity, of economic activity after an election when everything is sorted out for the next 2.5, 3 years?
Look, potentially, but I guess it depends on the makeup of the government. So, will you get a government that can deliver on its promises and deliver on a pro-business sort of agenda? And if they can, then I think that would give the business community quite a bit of go forward confidence.
Yeah.
I think what they really want to see is, inflation's obviously a big problem. We've got to get on top of that. Which is going to be the government that gets on top of inflation, because that drives a lot of negativity in the economy.